Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this particular video, we are going to cover each and everything that you need to know to start your journey with Redis. Now, this is a completely practical project based video, and for this one, we are going to use a Node.js and Express application, and we are going to use Docker and Postgres as our DB. Now, before I'm going to discuss the curriculum, as usual, I wanted to mention one important point, and that is, you can see that I clearly mentioned that if this particular video gets more than 2000 likes, because I'm getting so many requests, I'm going to create another video on Postgres that will be advanced part 2, and also Redis part 2, where I'm going to cover some of the more advanced topics like sessions, queues, background jobs, and all the other production level patterns that you need to know. And also, please like this video, comment, and if possible, if you can share with your friends, it will be very helpful. So what are the things that we are going to cover? So first we'll start with what is Redis, why actually you need it, and if I go to the details, you can see that I've added all the details that why Redis is used as fast in-memory data store, where Redis fits in a real backend project, right? The difference between Redis and the normal database and all the other things. Then we are going to start with adding Redis to our backend project. As I already mentioned, we are going to use a Node.js project, so we are going to understand how you can start Redis locally with Docker, install Redis client package, create reusable Redis connection file, and also we are going to understand very important thing, that Redis as the first in-memory layer that we are going to use in this backend project. And then we are going to understand a complete dedicated section on Redis data types. So you're going to understand hashes, list, sets, sorted list at the beginner level, how you are going to use counters using Redis commands, and then all these concepts we are going to apply in our backend project. Okay, so that will be another dedicated section where we are going to add Redis caching to our product APIs. Moving to the next one, which will be another important section, you are going to understand cache invalidation, stale cache problem, right? So here we are going to use cache aside pattern, understand cache issue, invalidate patterns, right? So there will be a lot of things. We are also going to understand, or we are going to have a dedicated section on TTL. Okay, then we are going to have another section on how you can implement rate limiting with Redis, and at the end we are going to end this particular video with PubSub, or how you can actually implement publish and subscriber pattern using Redis. So this is what we are going to understand in this particular video. I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot of things, and as usual the source code will be added in the description, so you can download from free from my website. And also I wanted to mention, I think most of you already aware that I am planning to launch a huge course on my website that is not yet live. So if you want, you can join the waitlist, that is completely free. So you can see that almost more than 4,000 people already joined. So with that, now let's get started, and good luck. Alright everyone, so now let's get started. See, the first thing I wanted to mention, that this video is not for complete beginners. So what I mean by this, you should have at least some idea on Node Express, okay, and also some basic idea how usually Docker works, how we can create Docker compose file, and some of the very basic concepts like how you can create controllers, services, express routes, some of the Postgres queries. Now why this is important, so first I wanted to mention, because see, if you don't have all of this, right, it will be very difficult for you to understand this particular project. Why? Because this is a completely practical project. So what I mean by practical, so as you can see that I have a project created. Okay, so here we already have all the routes and everything, so we're not going to write each and every logic, because this course is going to only on Redis. So what you're going to do, we are only going to apply the Redis related concepts practically, and by implementing practically we are going to learn the concepts. I hope you're getting. And also, before we'll implement the concepts, we are going to have some kind of conceptual and some very small examples, so that you can understand that, okay, what that particular concept is, and where you are going to apply that particular concept in a real project. So first, before we will jump into Redis concept, first you have to understand the project structure, that what actually we are using here. Okay, so as you can see that we have a simple Node Express project. So for this one we are using Docker with Postgres. So for our DB, so you can see that in the Docker compose we just have a service. So this is our image, container name, the username, password, and blah blah, all the other things, right? So you have the port, volumes, and you can see that all these details also have added in the env, right? So you have a database host, database port, database user, database password, database name. Okay, now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to add this starter code in the attachment. Very important. First you have to download this, and then on top of this starter code you are going to implement all the logic that we are going to do. Now next will be, so let's start with the first one. So you can see that we have a db folder, we have a pool.ts. so here we're just creating the connection pool, right? So we have the new pool from the pg package, we have a .env package, and before that also I wanted to mention, if you go to package.js, and you can see that we have quads, .env, express and pg, and we have a start script, db migrate, that I'm going to explain, and the db seed. So what this is going to do, this is going to do the migration, right, this script, and then we have a simple dummy data that I have created that we are going to use. So we have a demo products, and this is going to seed this particular data in our Postgres DB. Next, let's move on to the services. So what services is going to do? Services is actually going to interact with your Postgres DB. So that is the reason first we have a get all products, which is going to fetch all the products. Then you have get product by ID, and then create product and update product. So if you go to the Postman, so you can see that we have all these routes. So we have a health route, products to fetch the products, right? And then we have the products filter, products by ID, creating a product and updating a particular product. Next, move on to the controllers. Controller is nothing but your logic where we are going to actually return our response back. Let's say we are having some front end. So I'm not explaining all of this. If you have some idea, you'll understand what actually this thing is doing. And this is also going to call the product service, right? Then we have a simple middleware, and then the routes file. So routes file is going to have your products related routes file, and one index.ts file, which is your root route file, and this root route file we are going to use where we are going to use in the app.ts file, right? So you can see that we are using creating the express application, using the cores, using the express JSON middleware, using the routes, and then exporting the app, and this app we are going to use in our main file. So this is our main root file, right? Server.ts. We are starting the server, we are creating or testing the DB connection, and then you can see that we are listening to this particular port. So this is very important to understand this project structure, or else it will be difficult for you to understand that what actually we are going to do in the next section. Now remember, as I already mentioned, this is a Redis course. We are not going to write too many logic and everything, and we're not going to go into too much advanced details for now, but the information that I'm going to give you is going to give you enough information to get started with Redis. So what will be the next step and what structure we are going to follow? So first of all, what we need to do, right? So let's do one thing. Let's install the Redis package. First we have to do that. So what I'm going to do, right? So let's go here, and then I'm just going to do, we haven't started anything, that what is Redis and everything that we're going to do. So first, download the starter code. Very important. Okay, if you don't do it, it will be difficult. I'm repeating again and again. Download it, and then we are just going to do npm install Redis, and this you have to do on the root. That's it. Okay, so this is going to install the Redis package. This is done. So now first of all we have to understand that what actually Redis is and why actually we need Redis, right? So this is important because this is a very important interview questions also. Why? Because when you have something called Postgres, or let's say you're using some different DB, why actually you need Redis? So first of all you are going to write that Redis is nothing but your in-memory data store, right? So this will be your in-memory data store. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? So if you go to here, right, so let's always try to use this AI mode, okay, side by side, or you can use some ChatGPT and everything. It's very helpful. Okay, so if you are watching a video and at the same time make use of these tools, it will be very easy. So here you can see that what's telling the, okay, it's a in-memory NoSQL data structure, something like that, but we have to understand that what actually in-memory means. So that simply means the Redis that we have, right, it's going to keeps your data in RAM. Okay, you're getting, so it's going to keeps data mainly in RAM. So what will happen if we have something in RAM? So in a simple way, the read and write operation will be extremely fast or very fast, right? So read and write operations will be very fast. So this is one of the main reasons. Now why actually you need Redis, or what are the best use cases? Interview questions, right? So for example, let's say we want to implement some kind of cache. So here, okay, let me just give here. So we want to implement some kind of cache. It's very important, right? Let's say we have to implement some kind of rate limiter. I'm giving very basic example. Okay, there are so many advanced use cases Redis can have. Let's say you want to implement some kind of message broker, right? Or maybe, okay, let's say you have a normal database, right? So in our case we are using Postgres. Now we want to implement, or we want to keep some kind of temporary fast layer in front of our existing database. So it's like something like this. So we have a temp fast layer in front of our normal database or main database, right? So these all will be the use cases. Now the next question will be why Redis is used even though we have a normal backend, right? For example, in our case we are using Postgres, right? Extremely important concept, you can't skip all of this. So even though our normal database is what? It's actually for your permanent structured data. So whatever database you are using, that is for your permanent structured data, right? What Redis is going to do, right? So there can be some task that whatever application that we are building, that we need to have some kind of speed or some kind of temporary data, and this is where Redis can be helpful, right? So this is where Redis can be helpful. How? So it can be, for example, let's say we have a product list and I want to cache that product list. So caching product list. So this is where you need Redis. Or let's say you want to count some kind of product views, how many views are there for that particular product, or you want to limit that how many requests a particular user can do, right, or can make. Or you can do running background checks, background jobs also, running background jobs. So this is where you need Redis. What Redis is going to help? So it's going to help with this particular kind of task. Why? As I already mentioned, it's going to store the data in your RAM. It will be much faster for your short-lived, okay, this is not permanent data, or your frequent accessed data. So this will be the main reason why we need this, okay? Now what is the difference between, so as I already mentioned, right, it is a in-memory data store, but what Postgres usually do, so Postgres is our normal DB, right? Postgres is going to store the data, it's going to store the data where? On disk, okay? Why? Because this is a long-term storage versus Redis is going to store in memory, okay, so in RAM, so it will be much faster. So if someone asks, okay, what is the one single reason of using Redis? Now remember, there can be so many reasons, but number one reason will be the speed, right? So the accessing of data will be much faster. So this will be the very basic definition. What is Redis? Why actually we need Redis even though we have a normal database, right? Very important concept, all this. So now what are we going to do, right? So first of all, let's do one thing we are going to do in a different way. So first we are going to understand some of the very basic things. For example, some of the Redis data types we have to understand. So what we can do, right? So directly you can create a examples folder. So that is the reason I mentioned that please create this please download the startup project. It's very helpful, okay? So here I'm just going to do this one as Redis data types. I'm not going to spend too much time on explaining so many things. Let's keep this whole video very practical, and we'll see that it will be very easier for you to understand. Alright, so first of all, what we need to do, right? So we need to do something. We need to add our Redis image in our Docker Compose, correct? So first of all, what are you going to do? So let's add it here. So let's add one more here. So I'm just going to do this one as Redis. And here what I'm going to do, so this will be, so I'm just going to add an image. So what will be the image? So for this one I'm just going to do Redis :7. So let's use Redis 7, and here I'm just going to use the container name. So let's give this one as Redis Redis something like this, whatever you want to give. I'm going to do restart, and this will be unless stopped. Okay, let's use the port. So normally Redis uses the 6379 port. Okay, so this is what we are going to map, and then we are also going to have a volumes. So for volumes, this will be my Redis _data, and here I'm just going to do /data, and here we are going to have the Redis data. Okay, so this is what we need. Okay, so this will be the first thing. So what are you going to do, right? So let's go here. So I'm just going to do docker compose down, and then I'll do docker compose up-d. Okay, so what you're getting, networking, this is already in used. Okay, so you're already using this. Maybe let's use this one, change this one to some different port and then run once again. Okay, so it's running, so let's verify once. Go to image. Okay, we have Redis, this is running. So now what we need to do, right, we also need to add this in our env. So in our env we don't have. So what we're going to do, right, I'm just going to add one more. So let's do this one as Redis underscore URL, and this will be Redis, and this is running on localhost :6380, right? Whatever port you are using, that you have to use it. So you're using 6380. So now I think this is done. So first of all, what we are going to do, first we will understand the basic Redis data types, or else we can't directly jump to the practical part. Okay, very important. All right, so I'm just going to explain that what are the things we are going to learn. Okay, so first I'm just going to, so here I'm just going to write, so we're going to learn about string. Let's do has. Also I'm just going to, let's do list, set, there are so many. Okay, then you have something called sorted set, and then you have TTL. Okay, so these all the things we are going to understand. At the same time, I'm also going to give you the basic concept side by side, and you'll see that how much easier it would be for you to understand all of this. So let's do this one in the next part. Okay, so let's start with string, right? So we have strings. So what is a Redis string? The definition will be Redis string stores one value under one key. Okay, so this usually stores one value under one key. Okay, what are the things that it can store, right? So for example, first of all, plain text if you want to store. Next, it can also store numbers stored as text. Okay, so these two, and also something like counters. So this will be a very simple definition. Now what will be the example? Let's say you have a key, right? So your key is something like, we are let's say you're counting some page views, that how many views this particular page gets, something like that. Very simple example. So there will be some key. Okay, so let's say this key is your page views, and then there will be one value, very simple to understand, and this value will be, let's say it's 100, something like this. Okay, so that is the reason I mentioned that it's going to store one value under one key. Okay, so now let's understand this one with a very simple example. So first of all, what are you going to do? We already have .env installed, so I'm just going to do .env from .env, and also we are going to import something from our Redis package. So just now we have installed Redis. So what are the things, what actually we need here? So we need to create a connection, so we need to import create client. Okay, so first what are you going to do, right? In our env you have this Redis URL, whatever port that you are running, and then what are you going to do first? So first you need to load the config. So I'll do .env.config. so this will be the first thing, and now we need our Redis connection URL that we are going to use to create the connection. So I'm just going to do const, so I'll do Redis URL, and this will be equal to, so I'll do process.env dot, and we have our Redis URL, right? Or else you can just simply directly pass this one here also. So copy this, and then we're going to pass it here. So now what we need to do, we're going to create one Redis client. Okay, why you actually need Redis client if someone asks you? So Redis client will be our main connection that we need, so that we will be able to connect to Redis. So I'm just going to do const Redis. So this will be your create client, and this actually you need the URL. Okay, so this is going to do the connection, and what will be your URL? Your URL will be your Redis URL. So this is going to create the connection. So first of all, what are you going to do? First I'm just going to do async function, and this will be run. And here first we need to see that if we are able to open the connection to our Redis server or not. So I'll do open connection to Redis server, right? So how we are going to do that? So this will be habit, and this Redis instance that we have created, this one, right? So here this is going to give you a connect method, and this is going to do the connection, and then I'm simply going to do a console.log, and I'm simply going to do connected to Redis because this we need to see. And also I'm just going to do console.log, and let's say I'm just going to check the ping, and this ping will be await. So you have the redis.ping, right? So this is going to explain us, sorry, not explain, this is going to tell us that okay, if the connection is successful or not. So now what are you going to do? So this will be a promise. So do run.catch in case any error. So we're going to get the error, and then I'm simply going to do console.error, and I'm just going to do demo, or maybe let's do demo failed because we are doing the demo, right? So demo failed, and this will be error, and we are just going to exit from this process. So do process.exit will be 1. So let's save this. So we are not doing anything else here, okay? We're not adding the example of string that we are going to do. So go to package.json, and then I'm just going to, maybe let's do an example colon, and I'll do Redis types. So how we are going to run it? So this will be tsx, and I'm just going to do, so we have to do example, right? So you have to go to examples because this is what you are using, slash the Redis data type.ts. So I'll do Redis data type, no, types.ts. So this will be our command that we are going to use directly in the terminal. So if I now open this, let's clear it, and I'll do npm run, enter, and you can see that it's now connected to Redis, and you're getting ping, and this is the pong. So that means the connection is now successful. And see, this is the reason when I usually teach, right, I use Docker, because Docker is, if you have idea on Docker, it's very easy to use, and also using Docker you can do a lot of things. Okay, see how much easier it is to understand that whether the connection is successful and if it is working or not. But one thing you have to make sure that you are using correct Redis URL here. If you're doing any mistake, it's going to fail. So this is done. So now let's start with what we have to do. Okay, so let's start with some very basic string example, right? So we'll go here, and then I'm just going to do strings. And first let's do one thing, what I usually mention, that there will be one key, and for one particular key it's going to hold one particular value, right? So we're going to take a string key. Okay, so I'm just going to do string key, and this will be, maybe let's say I wanted to get some page views. So I'm just going to do demo underscore page views, something like this. And then what I'm going to do, right, I'm just going to do await, and now we are going to use some methods that you have to understand. So what method we are going to use? We are going to use a set method. So set method, it's going to store that particular value under this key. Okay, so how we are going to do that? So it's very simple. So we'll do redis.set, and here you have to give what? You have to give the key, which is the Redis argument. So key is this, and then we'll give the value, right? So let's give this one as 100. So this is how you can set a particular value based on one key. Okay, I'm repeating this thing again and again, that set is going to do what? It's going to store one value under one key. Okay, now let's say I wanted to get this value, or I wanted to read this value. So how I can do that? So now I'm simply going to do, okay, let's take the page views. So this will be await. Now I'll do redis.get, and what you do was, it was a key. It's very simple. So I'll do strings key, and then let's do a log. So I'll do console.log, and let's take the page views. So now let's save this. Now what we can do, right, let's close this, and I'll clear it, and then run once again, and we'll see what you're getting. So you're getting 100. Okay, now what you can do, right, you can use another property on strings, and that is called increment. In short, something like incr. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to increase the number by 1. But here you might be thinking, okay, this is a string, but what happens, right, in Redis, or normally the Redis strings can also work like counters. So I'm just going to write it. So Redis strings can also work like counters. So now let's say if I wanted to do const after increment, and I'll do await, and I'll do Redis, and then you'll do incr. So here what you have to pass? So you have to pass a string key, right? So this will be the key that you have to pass, and then you'll just log it once again, right? You'll save and run it again. So you can see that you are getting 101. Okay, so this is all about the strings. Now what will be that next step? Next will be hash. Now hash is going to do what, right? So let's understand here only. So hash is going to, so I'm just going to take this one as hash. Alright, so now let's understand hash, right? So what actually Redis hash is? So Redis hash is going to store many small fields under one key. So it's going to stores many small fields under one key. Now what will be a good example for this? So one good example for this will be, so let's say we have a small object, right? So this will be a good example, or something like map inside Redis. So this will be your hash, right? So now let's say there can be any key, right? So there is any key, so this is your key name, and then you're going to have some fields here for that particular key. So now let's say you have a field which is name, and the name is something like this, and you also can be having a email, and this is your email, something like this. So let's understand this one with an example. So what I'll do, right? So let's do this one as const, and I'll do hash key, and what we can do, maybe let's do demo :user :profile. Okay, so now what we can do simply, so I'm just going to do await, and here we have a Redis, and we need to understand one method, and that is called hset. So what this is going to do, this is going to store the many fields that we wanted to have under this particular key. It's going to store that. Okay, so it's like a hash, like a small object inside Redis. So this is the method we need to do. How the structure will be, so here you have to pass the key, so this will be your key, and then you can pass the properties. So let's say I'm going to take a name, and this will be, I think this is wrong, this will be capital, right? So here this will be key, and then we have to take the property. So now let's say I'm here just going to take this one as Sangam, and I'm also going to take a city, and let's say I'll do something like USA. Okay, and then what you can do, right? So here let's say I wanted to get this value now. Okay, so this is how we are going to set some certain fields inside a key using hash concept, right? So we are using hset. Now to get this, I'm just going to do extract profile in for whatever you wanted to give here. So this will be equal to await. So we'll do Redis, and you're going to use get all. So this is what you have to use, and here also you have to pass a key. So I'm just going to pass this one as hash key. Now let's go here, and then I'm just going to copy this, and I'll paste it here, and let's see what you're getting, right? So I'll just run this once again. So getting a name and city. Okay, so this is how you're going to make use of hash. Now although you might be thinking, okay, these are very small simple concepts, but these simple concepts are actually important. Why? Because when you are going to learn all of this, and then you're going to, let's say you're creating a practical project, there you have to understand whether you actually can apply all these concepts inside your real project you're getting. So let's say you have a particular endpoint and you wanted to use Redis in that. Now the requirement is in such a way that you have to use string concept and hash concept both. So this is the knowledge that you have to acquire, that okay, in that particular scenario you will be able to understand that okay, which are properties I need to apply, or what are the concepts. So what I mean by this, it's not like we are blindly doing all of this. At the end, when we are going to do practical, you will see that some of the things that we are doing here we will be applying in a real project, and that will be your final outcome. Okay, next what else we have? Okay, let's understand list. So list will be, so I'm just going to do list. So Redis list will be ordered. Okay, so this will be ordered collection of values. Okay, so again here also you're going to have a key, and then there will be some values. Okay, so this is the simplest example, that these will be some collections of values, but it will be ordered. So now let's see one simple example. So I'll just do here const, I will do list key, and here I'm just going to do maybe demo. Let's say I'm just going to take some messages in order, and here what I will do, simply first I'm just going to have it. So I'll do list key, and you're going to use .lpush. No, not lpush, man. So here we are going to use await Redis .lpush. Okay, so this is what you're going to use. You have to pass a key which will be a list key, and let's say I wanted to give hello. Okay, And again, let's say I wanted to add some more, so maybe I'll do hi Redis. Alright, so now let's say we wanted to extract. So what I'll do, right, I'm just going to do extract messages, and this will be avid, and here we're going to have Redis dot, we have to use something called l range. Here we're going to pass the list key, and then we're going to give the start and the stop. And now let's log this, right? So I'm just going to do extract messages, save this, and now let's clear, and then I'm just going to run it again. Okay, so you can see that first you're getting a hi Redis and then hello. This is why, because we are using l push. Okay, now if you're getting confused, let me just quickly show you that diff between l push and r push. So you can see that now l push is going to do what? Is going to insert the x at the left side. Okay, r push is going to insert this one on the right side. So now if I'm first adding this one, so this will be added. When I'm going to add hi Redis, it will be added on the left side. So that's why you're getting this, you're getting this one, and that is the reason you're getting hello on the at the end. Okay, because we are using l push. If you want to get in the reverse order, what you have to use? You have to use r push. Okay, so I'm just going to give this one as a homework to all of you. So this is about the list. Next, what we have, I think we also have to discuss about, so let's discuss about set. So now I'm just going to do this one as set. So what actually set? So set will be, or okay, let me just quickly write it here, it will be easy. So l push, right? So l push will be adds a new item at beginning. Then you're going to have l range. L range is going to do what? It's going to reads items from the list, simple. And then we are going to have we also going to have what? L r push. So we also have the r push. R push is going to will be what? Adds the item at end. Okay, we also have something called l stream, right? These all are very important ones. So it's going to do what? It's going to keeps only part of the list. You can also verify. So if you go here and let's do l trim. So ltrim is a command to trim an existing list, so it contains only the specific range of elements. Okay, so you have to give the key, the start and the stop. So this is about the list. So now let's move to the set. So what will be set? Set is like, if you have some idea on JavaScript sets, how it usually works. So set is usually stores unique values only. Okay, so it's going to sets unique sets of values only. Okay, so now what will happen, this can be interview question, but this will be very beginner level of questions. What will happen if I try to add same element multiple times? So it's going to ignore the one that you have already added. Very simple concept. So how it will work? So let's go here, and then I'm just going to do const, let's do a set key, and I'm just going to, let's say I have some tags and I wanted to get the tags only, and here I'm just simply going to do await, and you're going to do Redis, and now this will be not l push, this will be ACEDEVHUB. So ACEDEVHUB is going to add, and it's going to create a set, and it's going to add that unique value. So what I mean by unique value here, so now let's say first of all I'm going to give set key, and I'm adding here nodejs, and now I'll just let's paste it, let's do next.js, and I'm just going to do next.js again. Okay, so there is a duplicate. Okay, so what will happen here? So first of all, let's say I wanted to get, or I wanted to return how many unique members exist in this particular set. So how I can do that? So first of all, let's say I wanted to get the tag count, and this will be await. You have to use something called ACEDEVHUB. Okay, and here you're going to pass the set key. Now let's see what is happening, right? So I'm just going to log this. So I'll do tag count, save, and you can see that you're getting only 2. Why? Because even though you've added nodejs 2 times, it is going to consider the nodejs unique. Okay, the first one, next one it's going to ignore. Okay, then we have something called sorted set also. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to do const rank key, something like this, rank key, and then I'll do demo, and I'll just going to take some kind of leaderboard, and I'll do avid Redis dot, we have something called zadd. Okay, so what zadd is going to do is going to store your member plus scores. When you have some kind of condition or feature that you have to implement where you need to actually get the data based on ranking, it's very important concept. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we'll do zadd, so you have to pass the key, so we'll do rank key, and I'm just going to give a score here. See, score will be 100. Okay, and you have to give a value here also. So now let's say this is a player A. Now I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So this will be score 200, and this will be my player B. So now what you're going to do, right? So let's say I wanted to do something. I wanted to increase this particular score that I have by a particular amount. So to do this one, we have something called Z increment by. That I'm talking about full form, but in short you have to do something like this. So let's say I wanted to get the new score. So first I will do avid. So this will be Z, sorry, again I'm doing Z. So this will be Redis dot Z increment by. You have to pass the key here, and let's say you have to pass the increment number, so let's say by 50, and also you have to pass the member. What will be your member? Member will be your player A. Okay, so here you have to give this one as player A. So now let's log this. So this will be the new score. So now let's save this, and if I run it again, so what we will be getting? We will be getting 150. Very simple. So we are just increasing this one by 50. Now if you wanted to get the rank from highest score to lowest score, there you have to use something called zrev rank. So I'll do const rank, and this will be avid redis dot z. We have the rev rank. Okay, so here you have to pass the rank key, and let's say what I wanted to do, I wanted to pass the player B. Okay, and here let's say I'm just going to do a log, and maybe I'll do a rank here. So if I save this, so you can see that you're getting 0. Okay, now why we are getting 0? The reason is because 0 will be always considered as top rank. Okay, so what this is going to do, this is going to give the rank from highest score to the lowest score. So now I think this is done. If you are getting confused, let me just give you one example, right? So I'm just going to copy this, and I'll just do here, okay, tell me why the last rank console is giving 0. Okay, so let's see. Now see, it's printing 0 because calculate 0 to index rank order from highest score to lowest score. So this is what I was talking about. Now this might be little confusing because when I remember I learned for the first time, right? I was like, oh my, okay, what is happening here? So this is the reason I mentioned. So if you see, okay, first of all, see, this is going to add this one. So it's going to get first time when I'm going to do Z add, it's going to get a score of 100. Player B is going to get a score of 200. Fine. I added 50. Okay, so it's become 150, right? So player A is become 150. So now the final leaderboard will be what? 200, 150. So what Z rev rank is going to do, I already mentioned, it's going to give you the rank from highest score to the lowest score. So who is the lowest, highest score here? Still player B, correct? So that is the reason you are getting this. So now it's going to do what? It's going to sort the leaderboard in the descending order. So highest order is going to get the top position. So now what I mentioned here, that 0 will be equal to always what? Highest score, okay, or top rank. 0 will be, I'm just going to do like this. So this is how I learned, I remember this one. So 0 will be considered as top rank, right? So now this will be your rank 0, first place, highest score, player B, and rank 1. Because we are passing player B has the absolute highest score, so their reverse rank is exactly 0. So when you're passing player B, so you're getting this one as 0. What will happen if I pass this one as player A? I think you can actually guess it. So it will become 1 because this will be the second player, okay, because B is first here. Now I'll give you one homework because we're adding by 50, right? Here player score. Do this you can just add one more time, right? Let's say you added 100 or 200. Now see that the moment player A will be increased by player B. So now let's say player A score is 300. You'll see that when you're going to console the rank, player A will become the highest rank and then the player B, something like that. Okay, so this is about the how you can work with sorted set. Okay, very important concept. What else we have? I think we have already complete most of the things. So last, I think we have to also understand some of the very basic concept of TTL. Okay, so first what I will do, right? So let's understand very basic concept here, what actually TTL means. So TTL will be, as much I can recollect, it will be time to live. Okay, or you can also consider this one as expiry, right? So this will be expiry, so we can just verify. So TTL means time to live, right? Okay, so let's take one. So this will be TTL or expiry. So what this is going to be, sorry, why this is going to be helpful, or what this is going to tell Redis. So it is it's going to tell Redis that how long, okay, you can note it down, how long a particular key should exist before it's going to deleted automatically. This is a very important concept. Okay, so it's going to tell, it tells Redis that how long a key should exist before being deleted automatically. Okay, you're getting? So now maybe let's say I have a key here, right? So I have a key of A, and then this key has a value of something, maybe any value you can take, and I'm giving a TTL of 300 seconds. So what will happen? That means after 5 minutes Redis is going to delete this key automatically. Okay, I hope this is clear. So now let's understand, maybe we'll just do like this, right? So I'm just going to do const, let's take an OTP key or whatever key you wanted to take. So I'll do demo OTP, and here I'm simply going to do await. I'll do Redis, and you can use simply set, and you're going to pass the OTP key, and I'll just do here 1 2 3 4 5 6. We're just setting the value here. Okay, now I'm going to add a expire date here. So how you can do? So I'll do Redis dot expire, and you have to pass the key here, OTP key, and this will become 60. Okay, so once this TTL will end, Redis is going to delete this automatically. So here what will be the expired time? The expired time will be 60 seconds. Okay, because we are using 60. Okay, now what you can do, right, you can use TTL. So what TTL is going to do? TTL is going to show you the remaining seconds before it's going to expire. You are getting time to what I mentioned, time to live, right? So now if I simply do const, what will be the TTL? So I'll do await redis.ttl, and you'll simply pass OTP key, and then you'll just do console.log, and I can log this TTL. Okay, so now if I go here and let's say I wanted to run this, so it will be showing as 60 because now we just started. So once this TTL is going to end, Redis is going to delete this particular key automatically. Okay, so I think this is done. Now one last thing we have to understand, that's I kept this one intentionally, and that is how we are going to close the Redis connection, because you notice that it's actually not closing. And to close the Redis connection, it is very simple. I just have to do await, and I'll do redis.quit. Okay, and this is done. So now the moment I will save this, and I will see that now if I'm going to run this, it's closing. So that is the reason I kept that part intentional, so that you can understand. Okay, so now this is how you are going to quit, or how you are going to close your Redis connection. So with this, I think we have covered most of the things. These things are very important. So now what will be the next step? Next step will be, now we need to start working on our actual project. So now we are going to set up our Redis, and after that we'll move to the next section. All right, so moving to the next one. So now we have some basic understanding of the data types and how you can run and see the output and everything, right? So what will be the next step? Now remember, there are some more examples that we need to understand. Okay, but this time what we are going to do, right, because now we already have some very basic idea, so some of the practical things now we are going to apply in our project. Okay, so this is how we are going to understand all the things. So what we have to do, so first thing we will start with creating the Redis connection in our project. Now remember, this is now not example one, this is actually how we are going to apply in a project. Okay, so first what we need to do, so first we need to see that some of the things whether we have completed or not. So what will be the first thing we need to see in your project. Now why I am explaining all of this, now forget about this example folder. This example folder is the dummy code snippet kind of thing that will give you the basic idea. Now when you implement in a project, so first thing you have to understand that okay, whether the Redis is installed or not. So yes, we have already installed Redis, right? So we have the Redis package here. Second, because we are using Docker, we have the Docker service is running or not. Yes, Docker service, sorry, not Docker, yeah, Docker Redis service is running, correct? Also you have the Redis volumes or Redis data. So first thing we need to do what? So first we need to create our actual Redis connection for this particular project. Second, we are going to use that connection where in our main server.ts file. So these two things we are going to do. So first, maybe what we can do, right? So let's create one Redis folder here. Inside this, let's create a client.ts. Okay, so now first of all what you're going to do, now you see that once you understand some of the concepts, how much easier it will be for you to know. So first of all you need to get something. So what I need to get the create client. This is what you have learned, right, in the previous section. So first I'm just going to do const redis url. So this will be process.env dot, so you have redis url, or so we are going to use that whatever we have here. So copy this and then paste it here. So now I'm just going to do, so we need to create a Redis client, correct? So I'm just going to do export cons. Why we need to do export? Because we can or we need to use this Redis client in our other places. So I'm just going to do Redis client, and this will be equal to create client, and here you are going to pass the URL, and this will be your Redis URL. Sorry, not Redis URL we have to use. Now what we need to do, we need to fire some of the events. So what are the things we need to fire? So first I wanted to see that whether the connection or the TCP connection is established or not. Okay, so how we can do that? So we have Redis client.on, and here we have a method called connect. Now this is going to fire when the TCP connection to Redis is established. Okay, and here what we can do, we don't have to do anything else. In the callback we can just log the error. So what you can do, right, we'll just do Redis client connected, something like this. So this is the first one. Then we need to see, so this is only the connect. Okay, one we need to take for ready, so when the connection is ready. So here I'm just going to do this one as ready. So this will be Redis client ready. Okay, also we can take one more which will be error. So if there are any kind of error, so I'm just going to do this one as error, and this will be Redis client error. Because this is a callback, you can take an error here, and that error you can just log here. Okay, that's it. And then we are going to take last one which will be end. So this will be end, and this will be when the connection will be closed. We don't need this one, we can remove this, and we'll do Redis client connection closed. So this is done. So now what are you going to do, right? So first of all I'm just going to create one more function here. So I'll just do export async function, and I'll just do connect Redis. So what will be the return? So this will be promise, and then we just have to take void here. So for this one, first of all I'm just going to check if the Redis client that we have is open. If this is false, so why? So what we need to do here, so we are going to only connect if the client is not already open. You're getting, so this is what you're checking. If the client is already open, we don't have to do anything. So if this is not, so in that case we have our Redis client, and here you have to do connect. Okay, so here now only I wanted to call connect. So this is the first thing, and then ping pong, that concept, right? Ping means we are going to give ping, and we need to see whether we are getting the ping response or not as pong. So I'm just going to do here const let's do pong, and I'll do await redis client dot ping, and here I'm just going to do, so let's do this one maybe let's log it only, I think that is fine. So I'll just do here redis ping response, and this will be pong, and I think this is done. And then I'm also going to take one more here, so I'll do export async function, and I'll just do this one as disconnect Redis. So this will be again promise void, and here we are going to check. Now what you have to check, if the connection is already open, then you are going to close it. You're getting, if the connection is not open, how you are going to close it? So to check if the Redis client dot is open, that means if it is already open, then how I'm going to close it. Now see, this concept we have learned just now. So this is what I'm talking about, repeating every time, not only this video, in all the videos in last 2-3 years, whatever videos I'm doing, right? So what I mean by this, whenever you learn any concept, you have to see whether you are able to apply that concept practically in a project or not. If you're not able to do it, that means there is no point of learning that concept. You're getting, so let's say you're learning a Node.js concept called file system, and you're building a real practical project, and you have to see whether those file system concepts you can apply in that project or not. Okay, no one in any project, you are not going to get like this, okay, there will be some simple thing and then you're just going to apply file system dot read this method. There will be situational concept, right? So in that particular situation, you have to understand whether you can apply that concept or not. So here, if it is open, so I need to close this. So how I'm going to close it? So we have to call that quit method that we have learned, right? So this is going to close that connection. So I think this is done, right? So this is clear. Now what will be the next step? Next step will be, now this is not yet completed, because in the server.ts we need to use this. So now here you can see that we are calling the test connection. So first of all, I need to connect to my Redis. Okay, so I'm just going to do avid and I'll do connect Redis. So we need to check here on the startup. And also let's do one more thing here. I'm just going to do process.on, and what we need to do, right? See, when we are going to stop the server, we have to close the Redis connection also. So how we can do that, right? We have the sign it. Okay, and here I'm just going to take async, and then I'm simply going to do avid, and we have the disconnect Redis, and then you have to exit. So we'll do process.exit. No, process.exit of 0, and I think this is done. So this what we need to do. So now if I go here, I think it's already running. So you can see it's already connected, which is fantastic, but still I'm just going to run once again. And if you run here, you can see the Postgres connected successfully, Redis client connected, ready, and then you're getting the response also. And this is the Pong response that you're getting, right? So, and the server is running. So that means now we have successfully initiated the Redis connection, and also we are able to we will be able to disconnect the Redis also whenever you will be stopping the server. Okay, so this is one small section that we have to do. Now again, what are we going to do, right? Let's move back to our examples. We'll understand some more concepts, then we will again come back, and then we are going to apply those concepts in this real. All right, so now let's move on to the next one, which will be, so we need to understand some of the more concepts. Okay, so first, so let's understand that what actually caching is, right? So because this is one of the main core concepts that we need to understand, and also you're going to understand what is Redis caching that I mentioned, and also invalidation both. See, caching means like if I wanted to explain very simpler way, so let's say you are storing some data. I will not say data, but storing the copy of data, okay, in a first place, so that whenever you're going to do future request, it can read that particular data from that place very quickly. Okay, so this will be very simple human-like definition, not like you are checking from ChatGPT, but this is what I will explain. Okay, so the caching will be, it is like storing, but the difference is, see, storing the copy of data, in a first place. So this can be any place. Now in this case we are using Redis, so it will be in memory, so that so it will be stored in a first place. So future request can be read very quickly. So this will be a very basic definition and proper definition of caching, right? So instead of fetching the same data again and again, we are actually reading the data from a cache. Now I already mentioned, right, that why we're using Redis, because Redis is in memory, so reads will be very fast, right? It will be very fast, extremely fast, right? Now some of the reason that why we need to use caching, now there can be so many reasons, okay, but I'm going to give you some of the very simple ones. So for example, let's say you want to reduce your database load. This is one of the reason. want to improve their response time, I think this will automatically come, because the Redis is very fast, right? So it's definitely going to improve your response time, and also it's going to handle the repetitive reads properly or efficiently. Now there are some patterns that you have to understand. So we have something called cache aside pattern. So how this will work, right, in a simpler way. So first it is going to check the cache. So let's see if you have something cache, if this is stored or not. 2, so this will be, I'll do 1, and then in the 2 this will be if the cache has already data, so it's going to return it. If not, if the cache doesn't have data, if the cache doesn't have data, so what I'll do, it's going to read from main DB. Okay, and then once you read it, then you're going to save in cache. So what will happen, from the next time it's going to read from the cache, because that time cache will be having the data. Okay, so this will be a cache aside pattern. There is another concept called cache hit. So what is cache hit, right? So cache hit will happen whatever data that you were requesting. So the requested data is already in cache, correct? So now consider you have something called a products endpoint, right? And here what will happen, right? So let's say Redis already has something called products:all. So that means these products data is already present in this particular key. So what will happen, it's going to return the cache data immediately. So return the cache data immediately. Now one thing, so let's understand here. So I'll do what is cache aside and cache hit. So see, the cache, the application looks for data, finds it and return it instantly, right? This is the optimal path because it bypasses the slow main databases entirely, correct? Then you have cache miss also, something cache aside pattern. So this is called lazy loading. So you can check it, or I'll just read it properly, that in this pattern the application logic directly manages both the cache and the database, correct? I already mentioned that if it is present, you give me the data back, right? You have the client request data application, right? And then you have the cache hit, so it's going to return the data. So you have a Redis cache, right? If there is a miss, so it's going to take it from DB and then it's going to return the data. So this will be your cache aside pattern. Cache miss will be nothing but when your cache doesn't have that particular data. Okay, so in this case, let's say you're getting the list of products and this cache is not present. So what will happen? It needs to return the data, right? So in that case, it's going to get the data from your DB. And then you have something called TTL. TTL, so I've already mentioned that will be time to live, right? So it's going to tell that how long that cache data should stay before we are going to delete it automatically. So these will be all the concepts. Now, because we already know all this, right? See how much easier it will be for us to understand these things practically. So what I'll do, right? So I'll go here and let's do this one as Redis caching. We'll do all at once, okay? All the concepts. So I'll do Redis caching. Let's go to package.json and I'm just going to copy this so that we can run it. And I'll do Redis caching, and this will be Redis caching, right? Redis caching. Okay, so let's go here. First of all, what I'll do, so I'll go to this. I'll close this. So let's go here. I'm going to copy till this part, not going to write. Okay, so these 5 things we need. So we are creating this. So now first of all we need to have our cache key. So you should always have your cache key, right? Cache key is there, something like cache key there. So what is your cache key? So I'm just going to take this one as, let's say cache key. So this will be your demo : products. So this is where I want to store my list of products in my cache. Okay, then you're going to have a cache TTL in seconds. So I'm just going to do seconds. So what this means? This means cache is going to expire after 60 seconds. Cache will expire after 60 seconds. This is also very important because you can't give your TTL long. Also you have to invalidate the cache. Why? So let's say you have 10 products and you're getting the data from cache. It's fine. Now let's say there is some update in that data, or there is a new product added. So now your 10 products will become 11. So if your data is already present in the cache and it's getting returned from the cache, it always going to return you the 10 data, not the 11 data, and also not the updated data. For example, let's say there is one product and the product price is changed from 100 to 500. So in that case, it will always return you the 100. It's not going to return the updated data. So that is the reason we have concept of invalidation. So you are going to invalidate that cache so that it's going to return the updated data back. So here I'm just going to do const products, and I'm just going to, let's take something like this, right? So I'll do keyboard and then mouse and laptop, something like this. So this is my fake database data. Now what I'm going to do, I'll just do async function run, and here first we're going to connect. I'm just doing a little first, and then what I will do it also, let's do this, right? So I'm just going to close it also at the end. So now first of all I'm doing some request. Okay, so this is my first request. So what will happen in the first request? Pause the video and try to understand. See, in the first request, it will not be cache hit, it will be cache miss. Why? Because in the first request, this data is not present in your Redis cache, correct? So what will happen? Every time whenever there will be first request will be made, it is going to get the data from your DB. It's very simple concept. So that means first time it will be a cache miss. Second time, once it is cache miss, it's going to get the data from your DB. We are going to store the data in your Redis. So next time it's going to read the data from your cache. So now let's say I'm just going to do let cast, and this will be my await, and then I'll do redis.get, and I'm just going to pass the cache key. So I'm trying to get the data from my cache. So first time this data will not be present. Okay, so then I'm simply checking. Okay, now see, this is the cache aside pattern. Okay, this is the pattern that we have discussed. So this is the cache aside pattern. So I'm just going to do if cache data is present, so it's going to return me that data. Okay, so I'm just going to do here console.log, and I'll do cache hit. Okay, and then log this, and then you have to get the data also, right? So I'm just going to get the data, which will be json.parsed, and you're going to get the data here, cast. If this data is not present, so what we have to do, we have to get the data still, right? So in that case, this will be cache miss. So this time it's going to read the data from DB, read from main DB. So in that case, first of all, what are you going to do? So I'm simply going to do const products. I'll do DB products. Now let's do one thing. Let's change this one to DB products, and I'm just simply going to do this one as products. So this will be simply my DB products that I have, and now I'm going to set this one in my cache. So now set or save the products in Redis cache. So in that case, I'm just going to do redis.set ex. So what this is going to do, right? This set x is going to also save your TTL. Why we need this? So that whatever cache that you are saving, it doesn't live forever. Okay, so what I mean by this, so this set x is going to do like this. So this is also going to save, also saves TTL, so that your cache doesn't live forever. Okay, you can also check it here, right? So we are checking like this, and it is actually easier. Okay, so it sets a value, that is fine, string value to a key, assigns a expression time TTL in seconds. Okay, so it's going to have one time here. So how we can do that? So we are simply going to do what? So first I have to give the key. So you can see that key, seconds, and the value. So this will be my cache key. This will be my cache TTL in seconds, so 60 seconds, and then I'm going to store the data. So this will be json.stringify. Okay, and then what data you want to store in a cache? The products data. So now this will be stored in your cache. Alright, so now, so first of all, let's run this. Okay, so what I have done, so first we are checking that if it is present, so give me the data, or else we are going to render cache miss, and then we are going to read it from our DB, and then we are going to set into cache. So now first of all, let's go here, and then I'm just going to copy this, and I'll do npm run, and let's see what you're getting, right? So first of all, let's see that we are getting cache miss. Okay, so why we are getting cache miss? That's because, okay, here we have to give, so it's coming here, makes sense. Also, if you log the data, you'll be getting the data from here, but next time now we should be getting the data from our cache. So now let's run it once again, and we are getting cache hit. Okay, and you can see that this is the data that you are getting. Okay, so that means next time this is already present. This is very, very important. So first time what happened, so your data is not present in the cache, you're reading data from your DB and you're setting the data in your Redis cache. Next time this will be data is already present in your cache, so this will be cache hit. So you're going to get the data, right? Every time you're going to run, you're going to get from your cache only. Okay, see. All right, so now what I have to do, right? First of all, let's understand another problem, and that is called that will be like stale cache problem. So what I mean by this, so now consider that I have my DB products, and these has all these products, correct? So we have these products, copy this, and here I'm just going to give one more, which will be my desktop. So now what I need to do, right? So now I'm just going to do this one as where you're getting this one. Oh, I think I've used const, right? Maybe, yes. So to use this one as let. Okay, so first what I'll do, so let's log this. So what I mean by this, so consider this, right? So why I'm explaining, because for some of you it will be difficult. So this is not like a dummy data, right? This is actual operation that you are doing in your project. You're building some full stack application, and let's say you have a API, or you're creating some product, actual product, and that data, the new data, this desktop is the new data, is added in your DB, correct? So now what I'm going to do, right? So I'm just going to do a log, and here I'm just going to do DB products. Okay, save this, and then I'm just going to run again. So you can see that we are getting 4, right? So we have cache miss, and then we are getting keyboard, mouse, and all these things. So now what we need to do, right? And also if you see, we are getting this log from here. Okay, so this is the log that we are getting. So now what we are going to do, right? So first of all, I'm just going to do something like this maybe. So let's do here cache, and I'll have it redis.get, and I'm just going to do this one as cache key, and then I'm simply going to do log, and here I'm just going to do here cached data, and this will be json.parse, and then I'm just going to get the cached data. So let's save this, and we'll see what is happening here. So we'll clear this. Okay, so what you're getting, you're still getting the old data. Now this is a huge problem. So this is called stale cache problem. So that means even though your DB, actual DB has more products or newly added products, or let's say there is an update, maybe laptop spelling is changed from laptop to big laptop, something like this, still your cache data has the old data, right? And this makes sense, right? Because you haven't invalidated or deleted your cache. So in that case, what will happen, even though you can have more data, you are still going to get same cache data every single time. So this is a problem. So now to solve this, we have a concept called cache invalidation. This is an extremely important concept. Okay, these are the concepts that you are going to use actually in your project. Okay, so we'll do cache invalidation. So what this is going to do, right? So this is going to, so we are going to have some kind of mechanism in our code, in our actual API, that okay, whenever I'm going to create a new product, or whenever I'm going to update a new product, or whenever I'm going to delete a product, I need to do what? I need to delete the old cache. So I'm just going to give a sort that okay, whenever I will do any, so, or let's put it in this way, when DB changes, very simple, whenever your DB changes, you're going to delete the cache. This is the best way to understand now for beginners. Whenever DB changes, you're going to delete your old cache immediately, right? So you're going to, so that you'll get the updated data here. How you're going to do that? So I'm just going to await redis.delete, and here you're going to pass the cas key, and I'm just going to do a log, and I'll do cas deleted, and then spelling is wrong. So now again I'm just going to check if not equal to cast. So I'm just going to do a log here. I'll do cas data after delete, and here what we're going to do, right? So I'm just going to do const phrase products. So this will be again your DB products, but in actual scenario this will be again your data from your DB. So this will be again your data from your DB after changes, right? After data changes. And then again I'm just going to set it. So I'll do redis.set x, and here I'm just going to do this one as cas key. I'll do cas ttl in seconds, and again you're going to do json.stringify, and you're going to pass the phrase products. You're getting? So now again I'm just going to do a log here. Okay, after this I'm just going to do a log, and I'm just going to do phrase data, and this will be phrase products. So now if I save this, so now notice what we are doing. We are doing a invalidation, cas invalidation, by deleting the old cas, and then again we are setting here that if the cas is not present, now again you give me the data from the DB, and then again you are going to set it in your cas. So let's run it again. So you can see that we are getting what? Cas data and cas deleted, and then we are not getting this one. Okay, let's run it once again, and you can see that what you are getting, cas deleted. Something we are doing wrong here. If not, okay, we have to actually get the data, man, that's why. So first we have to get the cas data, which will be await redis.get, and this will be cas key. Then only we'll be getting that if this is present, because we've already deleting it. So first we need to see if the cas is present. So first we need to get the data, and this is not going to find because we've already deleted it. So then it's going to read it from the DB. So now I think this will work. That was the mistake. See, so now let's go one by one. So first we have what? Cas deleted. So now we are getting what? So this is not going to give you any data, so that means cas data after delete. So this is your phrase data. So this phrase data is nothing but your 4 data, these 4, because this is the 4 data that we have added. Okay, so this is how you are going to use the concept of cas aside, cas ttl, and invalidate cas, and to solve this stale cas problem. Okay, these are very important concepts, and most of the times you are going to use this. So with this, now let's move to the next one. So we are going to apply some of the things in our actual project in the next section. All right, so now let's implement some of this concept in our project. Okay, so for that, what you're going to do, right? If you go to services, so let's go to product service, and let's close everything else. So first of all, we'll see that what we are doing here. So first you can see that we have one method which is going to get all the products. Now here one thing I wanted to mention, we are not focusing on filter, okay, for now, and I will explain the reason why. So for now you just see that we are getting all products. There is a method service, so we're just creating one query, and at the end what simply we are doing, we are simply getting the result from your DB, and then we are returning that. And if you go to your controllers, in the controllers we are using that what is that, get product. So this is the method that we are using. And if I go here, right, so let's go to products, and if I send these, so you're getting the whatever products that we have added in the Postgres DB. So now what we need to do, right, we need to implement a caching for this particular for all these methods that we have. So first we have the get all products, then we have get product by ID, create product, and update product, all these methods. So first let's start with taking our cache key. Now remember, whatever concept that we have learned so far, that whenever you're going to implement some kind of cache, there has to be some key, right? So that key is going to hold that information or hold that cache information. So here I'm just going to do const, let's give this one as products underscore all cache key. Now we are only focusing on getting all products for now, and I'm just going to give this one as products colon all. So now what also, okay, let's take one more thing, and that is the TTL. So I'm just going to do this one const, and I'll do products cache, and I'll do TTL seconds, and this will be 60. Okay, so now what we are going to do, first of all, these get all products, now we are going to change this one from this particular method to a different method. Why? Now first of all, let's do one thing, right? Maybe let's create one more method here. We'll create one more method like get all products here after this, and I'll explain, or else it will be a little tricky to understand what we are doing. So first of all, I'm just going to do async, and I'll do function, and here I'm just going to do this one as get all products. You're going to get error, which is fine, and then here also you're going to get the filters, right? So we have all these filters, so we'll copy these filters and let's paste it here. And what will be the return type? So this is going to return a promise, and this will return the type of product. Okay, so now first of all, what we need to do, right? So first of all, we need to see, whenever I'm going to call this particular service, whenever I'm going to hit that particular endpoint to get all the products, I need to see that whether that product is present in our cache or not. So this is again come back to the same concept that we will learn so far, that is the cache aside pattern. If the cache is present, you are going to return the data from your cache immediately. If the cache is not present, you are going to get the actual data from your PostgreSDB and you are going to return. But there can be some exception. For example, the stale cache problem that we have discussed, that let's say now I added a new product, still we are going to get the old product, right? That part I have discussed, so that we are going to see later. So for now, what we are going to do, right, first of all, I'm simply going to check that const, and I'll do has filters. I'm simply going to check that if filter is present. So for now we are not focusing on filters, and I'll explain why. So I'm just going to give boolean, and I'll do filters dot category if this is present, or we also have the filter dot search, right? So I'll do filter dot search. If this is present, that means there is a filter, and I'm simply going to check that if this has filter is present. So in that case, I'm just going to do console dot log, and I'm going to do cache bypass. For now I'll do cache bypass, and this will be filtered product list. Now why we are doing this, right? So see, when we have filter, right, so every filter combination, actually we need a different cache key, and this is a very important thing. So every filter combination that we have need a separate cache key. Why that is? Now consider that you are doing a filter. In the first filter, you are only passing the category. In the second filter, you are passing the search. In the third filter, you are passing both category and search. So in that case, you can't implement this using only one key. So there has to be a combination. Okay, for example, so let's say we have our products, right? So we need to do something like this. So we'll do products colon all, and then here you are going to do a search. So let's say I'm applying a search, and the keyword is keyboard, something like this. Okay, so and then maybe let's say you are doing a category also. Let's say I'll do products colon all colon category, and then here I'm just going to do accessories, something like this. Okay, so that is the reason for now we are bypassing. But what we are going to do, right, so first we are going to change this particular method to fetch all products from database. Okay, so that means this method will never change, because we need to have this, right? Because we don't know whether we have the cache all the time. If the cache is not present, it's going to fetch the data as usual from your database all the time. So that means if filter is present, so we are going to simply return the fetch all products from DB, and then we are going to pass the filters here. Okay, but now first of all, here we have to implement the cache. So that means when the filter is not present, let's say I'm just getting the list of products here. This is just for explanation. In your real project, you also have to implement for this particular scenario also. So now what we are going to do, right, so first we need to check that before we are going to ask our Postgres for our products, we need to check Redis first, that whether that is present or not. If Redis already has the product list, we are not going to fetch the same product list from our DB. Okay, I'm repeating this thing because if you understand the core concept, and even if you do only 2-3 examples, right, most of the things you'll be able to do it. I can 100% guarantee. Even though if let's say your basics are not clear, and you're doing some very complex projects, some microservices and blah blah, but you'll see that you'll be getting some problem. So basic has to be very very clear so that you can understand what you are doing. So now here I wanted to check that okay, if the Redis cache is present, you also have to remember Redis actually is not the source of truth here. Okay, so this is a very important point, and most of the like whoever is teaching, I'm not saying they're covering this, or someone may be skipping this part. This is actually very important. Why? Redis is not the source of truth here. Okay, what actually it is storing? Remember, I already mentioned that Redis actually is going to store a temporary copy of data. That data originally come from your Postgres DB only. So what is your source of truth? The Postgres DB, right? So now in this case, I'm just going to do const cast products, and here I'm just going to do await, and I'll do Redis client dot get. So first I need to check if this is present or not, and I'll do product all cas key. So I'm simply checking if that product is present in cas Redis cas or not. If this is present, so I'm simply going to do if the cas products is present. So let's do log, and I'm just going to do this on a cas hit, and I'm just going to do products all. Okay, and then what are you going to do, right? So here we are simply going to return json.parse, and here I'm just going to do cas products as, so type will be product. So this is what I'm going to return. Okay, so this is Redis is actually returning your cas data as a string. Why you need json.parse? Because it's going to convert the string back to your actual array, right? This is normal concept. If this is not the case, if the cas product is not present, so that means what? There is a cas miss, right? So we are going to do cas miss. And here now we are going to first do what? Whenever there is a cas miss, you need to fetch the products from where? From your DB. So we are simply going to do const products, and this will be await fetch all products from DB, and you're going to pass the filters, right? So you have to pass the filters. So now here we are going to do what? We are going to set our actual products data in Redis cas. So now I'm simply going to do await Redis client dot set x. We have already discussed how we are doing, right? We have already understood all of this, so it will be easy. So we have cas key, we have the cas ttl in seconds, and then we are going to store the data. So we'll do json.stringify, and this will be the products. Now these products is the products that we are getting from our DB, and then we are simply going to do a log, and I'm just going to do cas set products colon all, and what you have to return? You have to return the products here, and this is done. Okay, so now I think this should work. I hope this is clear. Now at the end, your product controller doesn't know what is happening in the business logic, right? So here it's going to return the products as usual. What you're doing is simply doing the main logic here, that if the cas is present, return the data. If this is not present, you return the data from DB first, set it in your cas, and from the next time you're going to get from your cas only. So now let's save this. Let's see if this is running or not. I think it's running. So now I'm just going to run it here. So let's run it. So let's see what you're getting. We're getting cas miss and cas set, and now we're going to run once again, and you can see that what will happen, right? So you can see that cas hit. So now it's getting from your cas. Okay, you see immediately you're getting, right? So this is from your Redis cas. This is fantastic. Now see how much cleaner it is to understand. So that is the reason I always mention, and not only I always mention, but that is how I usually teach, right? In my YouTube videos, I don't go into too many complicated things, because at the end, if you're working in a company, right, let's say you're in college, or you have less than 2 years of experience, you'll see that even the whatever work you are doing in your company, let's say product based, service based, at the end they're not doing so many complicated things. They're doing the normal basic things only, but the concept has to be very clear. Although there can be 1000 lines of code, but at the end you will see that they're doing this cas aside, cas invalidation, cas set, and fetching the data from cas, or you fetch the data from DB and then set it in cas. Now this is a very basic level. There are so many advanced things is also there in Redis, but this is how this has to be done. Now see that every time it's going to hit the cas, and it's going to get the data from your cas, right? So if you run it here, it's going to get, and sometimes it's going to miss. Why? Now okay, this is another, see, it's working. Why? Because we've given 60 seconds here. the TTL is 60 seconds, right? You remember this one. So after 60 seconds it's going to delete that or invalidate that cache. So that is the reason you're getting. But if I run once again, you see that it's cache hit. So that means this is working absolutely fine. So now what will be the next step? Next step, let's do one thing. Let's do some more important things here only in this particular file in the next part, because we also have to see that when we are going to this cache data is present, and let's say added a new product, these data should be updated, right? You are getting the problem that I discussed, the stale cache problem. So let's see how we are going to do that in the next part. All right, so moving to the next one. So get all products you have done. So now let's do this one, get product by ID. So what do you mean by this, right? So let's say whenever you are going to fetch a single product by ID, so here what you're going to do, right? So also I will suggest, right, this one try to implement using the same concept. So what I mean by this will be exactly same concept where we have discussed about the cache aside pattern, right? So first you are going to see, so let's see I'm hitting this particular endpoint from my UI side. So I need to check that if this particular product information, let's say I have a product ID of product 10, so ID is 10, so if that ID 10 product is currently actually present in my cache or not. Okay, if that is not present in the cache, so what you're going to do, you're going to fetch the data from my DB as usual. If this is present in cache, so you're going to get from our Redis cache. So first what we'll do as usual, so let's create a export async function, and I'm simply going to do same, right, get product by ID, and this one I'm just going to do this one as fetch let's do single product. It will be easy to understand. Fetch single product from DB, right, or database, whatever you can do. So first of all, what we need to do here, right? So okay, these will be same. So let's copy this and we'll just paste it here. So first we need to actually see that if that is present in the Redis cache or not. So how we can do that? So we have to take a cache key, right? So I'm just going to do cache key, and for this one let's do one thing. Let's create one method. Okay, so I'm simply going to do, so let's go to the top, maybe here. So here I'm just going to do a function, and I'll do get product cache key, and here we are going to get the product ID, so this will be number, and we are going to return a string. So here I'm simply going to create a key which will be products colon ID, because this will be single product. But how we are going to get the single product? So this single product is nothing but your product ID. So that means, let's say I have 1000 products and I am storing the product width of ID 500, so it will become like this, right? So the products colon ID colon 500, something like this. So now this is done. So what will be the next step? So next step will be, first we need to see that okay, if this is present or not. If this is present, we are going to return it. So we're simply going to do get product by product cache key, right? And here we are going to pass the ID, and then I'm simply going to do const cast product. So this cast product will be await Redis client dot get, and this will be this cache key. So we are simply checking if that ID product, so this is a dynamic value, right? So this can be 1 2 3 4. Consider, let's take the example of 10. So if the ID of 10 product is not 10 product, ID of product 10, opposite ID of product 10, the product which ID is 10, if that is present in cache or not. Okay, we're simply checking that part. If this is present, so that means it will be a cache hit, right? So that data is present. So I'm simply going to do if cache product, if this is present, so I'm just going to do a log, and this will be a cache hit, and let's also pass the cache key here, right? So I'm just going to do here what I'm doing, cache key. So this will be a cache hit, and then we are simply going to, as usual, return the response. I'm just going to do return JSON dot parse. So this will be my cast product as product. This is done. Now if this is not present, so as usual this will be a cache miss, and then we are going to first get the product from our DB. So await fetch single product from DB, pass the ID. First we are going to check that if the product is not present, we are going to return null. Okay, and then we are going to set this one in our cache. So now I'm just going to do await Redis client dot setX, and here we are going to pass the cache key, we are going to pass the TTL, and also then I'm going to pass the actual product that I need to store. So this will be the product, and this is done. And then I'm again going to do a log here, and this will be catch set. Okay, what you have to return, you have to return the product here, and this is done. Okay, alright, so now let's run this. And also one thing, I just paused it and I see that we make a mistake, and that is here, right? If this is cached, so it will be cache hit, or else this will be cache miss. Okay, so this is one change you have to do. So now let's go here, and then if I try to send this, so you'll see that what you're getting, we're getting cache missed and cache is now set. Now next time let's try to send once again, and you'll see that now cache is hit. So that means the data is now present in your Redis cache. So this is another example that we have done. Now another very important one that you have to understand. Okay, so first let's see how I'm going to do it. So what I'll do, right, so let's go to products endpoint, and you will see that what we are getting, right? So first of all, let's do here some 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so you have 7 data. So now I'll try to send this. So you can see that we are getting this. Now let's go to the postman test that I've created, and I'm just going to copy this. Okay, let's go to the add here. So I'm going to add the post, and then I'll go to body, and then I'm simply going to send this one. So this is now added ID 8, and if I try to go here and try to send this, you'll see that how many data you're getting. You're getting the ID 7, so you're not getting the ID 8 data. So what I mean, the new data that you have added, it's not coming here, and the reason is very simple. This is the concept of the stale cache. So you remember, I just done this one practically. So that means it is getting from your Redis cache until unless that cache will be invalidated, that will not come, or else until unless the TTL will cross, then only the new data will come. But that is not the solution, right? So that means we have to have some kind of mechanism that whenever I'm going to create the data, or whenever I'm going to update the data, remember I mentioned that whenever there will be some update in the DB, you need to invalidate the cache. Very important concept. So how we are going to do that? To do this one, let's go to our create product, and you can see that we are doing all of this, whatever blah blah, that is fine. We don't have to do anything here. So first what I'll do, right, so I'm just going to create a const, and I'm just going to do newly created product. So I'll do newly created product, and this will be this whatever we are doing here. And now what I need to do, right, I need to invalidate the cache. Now remember, I mentioned what the Postgres is the source of truth, right? So whenever we are going to create a product, we need to delete the old list that is stored in our cache, so that next time whenever we are going to fetch the latest data, it is going to get the data from your Postgres. It's going to get the fresh data from Postgres. So that means we have to have a method which is going to delete the products from, no, delete all products, or products all cache. So this is what you have to do, and at the end we're going to return the newly created product here, which is fine. So what this is going to do, so this is going to actually delete that cache. So now copy this, and maybe let's do it here only, right? So I'm just going to do async function, and I'll do delete product cache. What this is going to return, so this will be a promise void, and here I'm simply going to do await, and I'll do Redis client dot delete, and then I'm simply going to delete the product all cache key, and then I'm simply going to do a log, and you'll see that I'm just going to do a cache delete, and then I'm just going to do products all, and you'll see that whenever you're going to do that, right, now notice this cache delete will be triggered. So now let's do in different way. So first I will go to, let's start with first one. So go to products, I'm going to send here. You're getting the new data because cache is now automatically invalidated using TTL, that is fine. Now I'll go to post, and I'm going to create one more data, ID 9, and you'll see that here it's getting cache is actually now deleted. And now if you go to immediately here, right, and try to send this, you are getting the newly created data also. Fantastic, right? So that means whenever you created a data, whenever we updated the database, we actually deleted our old Redis cache that is present. So what will happen next time, it's going to read the data immediately from your DB. It's not going to wait. So this is how you have to invalidate cache. So see, these part you have to master, that when I'm going to invalidate the cache, no one is going to come and then tell you that okay, whenever you're going to create product, every time you have to delete cache. It's not like that you are getting. So what I'm trying to explain, that based on that situation, that or based on the project or based on the feature that you are creating, you have to decide that when I have to delete the cache. This example I'm just showing you based on the project that I've created. This doesn't mean that every time you are going to create the product you have to delete the cache. Okay, maybe yes, but what I'm trying to say, that based on project to project this will change, but at the end the main concept will remain same. So this is one. Now the same thing will be for what? Will be for your update also. So whenever you're going to update any data, right, that time also you need to do what? You need to actually delete the cache. Okay, because we have this update product, this one, right, this. So whenever I'm going to update, so there is a possibility that this data will not be immediately updated. So let's see if this is happening, right? So maybe I'm trying to send it here, and this is now we are getting from cache miss, cache set, whatever, and then let's go to patch. And what I'm going to do, I will try to update the first product stock from 30 to 5000, and then I'll send it here and go to products, and let's see what we are getting. We are getting stock as 30, because this is going to still taking from your cache only. So that means whenever you are going to update the data, that time also you need to invalidate the cache. So that means first of all what I need to do when I'm going to update, so instead of get product by ID, first of all I need to get fetch product single product from database. So this is the first thing, and then whenever I'm going to update the product, that time also I need to do that. So I'm just going to do const product equal to this. So first I'm going to do await, and here I need to first delete the all product cache, and at the same time I also need to delete the single product cache. Now you might be thinking, okay, what is this single product cache? This single product cache is nothing but this get product cache that we have created. So these also we need to delete. Now you might be asking why. Okay, now consider that when we are updating a product, this product with ID, this we are updating from 5000 stock to 10,000. And if you try to go to this fetch product by ID, now let's say this data is now currently stored in your in your cache. When you are updating this product stock from 5000 to 10,000, there is a possibility that when you are going to send this, you are not going to get it. Now you are getting, but immediately you are not going to get it, because this data will be stored in your single product cache you are getting. So that means not only all product cache we need to delete, which is this one, single product cache also we need to delete, because update will happen on a single product, and you doesn't know that this product ID data is present in cache or not, and at the same time you are updating the same product stock from 5000 to 10,000, means this cache also you need to delete. You are getting what I'm trying to say? So that means these also you need to delete. So to do this one, let's go here, right? So I'm just going to do async function, and I'll do delete single product cache. So here I'm just going to get the product ID, which will be a number, and here what will be the return type. So this also will be a promise, right? So it will be promise of void. And here first of all what we need to check, so I'm just going to check the cache key, and this will be get product cache key, pass the product ID, and then you're going to do await, and I'll do Redis client dot delete, and then you're going to delete the cache key, and then I'm simply going to do console dot log, and I'll do cache delete, and I'm simply going to do here cache key, and these also we are going to call it here. So I'm just going to do await delete single product cache, and here we need to pass the ID, right? What is the ID? ID is this ID we need to pass, and then we are going to return the product here, and this is done. So now to verify this, first what I'll do, right, see what I'm doing. First I'm going to send this. Okay, so I'm going to request this. So now it's going to first miss the cache, next time it's going to hit the cache. Now I'm going to go to update and change this product ID stock from 5000 to let's do 15,000, and I'm going to update this. Now if I go here, right, and try to send this, you'll see that immediately you are getting 15,000. Why? Because this line is now deleting that product cache immediately. Also, if you go to products and try to send this, you see that you are getting immediately 15,000. You are getting this one. So that means both the whatever in both the endpoints you have added this one in cache, we are invalidating both the cache whenever we are going to update this particular product in your DB. So this is how you have to understand the concept of cache aside pattern, stale cache issue, and cache invalidation. I think you might not be thinking like these are very important concepts. Okay, these things you are going to use mostly whenever you are going to create any kind of CRUD. As I already mentioned in my previous videos, at the end of the day, whatever complex project you are creating, everything is CRUD. So what I mean by this, either you're going to create something, or you're going to update something, or you're going to list something, or you're going to delete something. So all the things is CRUD. If you can master all of this, right, you will be able to tackle any kind of complex project. So with this, I think we have almost covered most of the things. Now let's move to the next one, which will be, I'm going to give you some very basic idea how you can implement rate limiting in Redis. Alright, so now let's understand how we can create a simple rate limiter using Redis. Okay, so first what we will do, right, so let's go to middleware, and maybe I'm just going to do rate limit dot middleware .ts. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do here, so first you have to decide that, okay, what will be your rate limiting rules. So what I mean by this, so let's say we have an endpoint, consider products endpoint or whatever endpoint that you're using, that as a user, that whenever your users will be using that particular endpoint, is going to hit that particular endpoint, how much or how many requests they can do in a certain time frame. So for example, let's say they can do 5 requests only within 30 seconds. So that will be your configuration, and that will depend based on the app you're building, based on the security, and there are a lot of other factors. Okay, so in this case, first we are going to take something like this. I'm just going to do a rate limit window seconds. So this will be, I'm just going to give this one a 60 seconds, and also I'm just going to take one more, which will be rate limit, and I'll do this one as max requests. This will be, let's do maximum 10 requests or maybe 5 requests, whatever you want to do. So now I'm just going to create a middleware. So I'm just going to do export async function, and here I'm simply going to do this one as product rate limiter, because we are doing something related to product. And here we are going to have a request. So this will be the request from Express. So let's import this, right? So I'm just going to import from Express. And then I'm also going to take a response, which will be response, right? So let's import the response also. And also I'm going to import the next function, and then I'm going to have a next middleware, which is going to call the next middleware or next endpoint, whatever we have. So here I'm simply going to do a try. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do now, here a couple of things I wanted to mention. Okay, so you have to understand all of this, each and every line what we are doing here. Also let's do a catch, and I'm going to do error, and I'll just going to log error here. Let's do rate limit Redis error, and what we'll do, right, I'm going to call the next with our error. So it's going to call this error middleware, because if you go to the server.ts, we're using the middleware here, I think this one. Okay, so this is done. So now first of all, let's do one thing. Let's always at the end, what we have to do, we have to call the next middleware or next route handler, whatever we have. So you have to call the next. This is important, because if you don't do it, it will be stuck. Okay, this is a middleware, so it needs to call the next middleware, or it needs to call the next the next route handler. Okay, first of all, we need to understand that what we need to do, right? So see, whenever you're going to implement a real production level of application, this is what my understanding, right, or from my practical experience, whenever you are going to implement these kind of rate limiting, right, so these so first of all, you have to work with IP, right, because whenever you're going to implement rate limiting, there has to be something with IP. So what I mean by IP, so let's say every user is going to have some IP, right, and each IP is going to get its own counter in Redis, because we're using Redis. And what will happen in the actual real production level pattern will be that will actually go behind a proxy, or let's say there is a load balancer. So what I mean by this, so first of all, let's write all of this because this is important. So each IP is going to get, or it will get its own counter in Redis. Okay, so this is the first thing. So let's say I have a rate limit, right? So I'm just going to do rate limit. I think this we've already, this pattern, so colon products, because we are creating a products middleware, colon, and let's say there is a IP, so something like this, 127.0. blah blah whatever. And then I'm also going to have a rate limit colon products, and then we have a 1, something like this. So here what will happen, right? So let's say there are multiple users will be using your application at the same time. What will happen that if one user crossing the limit, so let's say one user is crossing the limit, it's possible, it will not going to block everyone. Okay, so this is the main reason, it's not going to block everyone. So that is the reason we need to have some IP, and this in real application or real products and pattern I'm going to do will be, this will go behind a proxy, or it can be a load balancer. Okay, so this IP handling, whatever you have to do, it needs extra configuration also, it's not that much simple. But for now, how we are going to do it, so for now I'm just going to do IP, and I'm just going to take the request.ip, or else this will be unknown. Okay, but I already mentioned this is how you have to do it. There can be a lot of other configuration that you have to make sure that you are using. Also, there is a possible that maybe that application that you're using that also has overseas audiences. So maybe the country that application you have, maybe from some other country you have users, so a lot of other things is there. So you have to consider all of this. But at the end, the main idea is that if one user is crossing the limit, it should not block other users, because there is a possibility that 100 users, 1000 or lakh users are using your application at the same time. And then now I'm just going to take as usual a rate limiter key. So I'm just going to do this one as, let's do same only. So I'll do rate limit colon products colon, and then here I'm going to pass the IP. So this will be my IP. Okay, so now first of all, what I need to do, right, I need to have a request count, how many requests that particular user is doing. So here I'm just going to do await Redis client dot, and then I'm just going to do increment, and here I'm going to have the rate limiter key. Okay, what increment is going to do, it's going to increase the request counter by 1. And now this is where Redis is very, very good. Okay, so this is where Redis is very, very good here. Why? Because let's say you have multiple backend servers, right? What will happen, right, if you have multiple backend servers, those many backend servers can share the same exact Redis counter. Okay, so this is actually very important concept. So now consider that we are storing this particular count in a normal JavaScript variable. Okay, not like this. So what will happen, even consider you have multiple backend server, that part I already mentioned. Each server is going to have its own separate count. You're getting what I'm talking about. So what is the downside? So if each server is going to have a own separate count, it's going to break the rate limiting. Okay, because you consider your app is running on multiple servers and you're using some normal JavaScript variable. So in that case, it can actually break. Why? Because each server, let's say there is one server, second server, first server is going to have own separate count, second server is going to have a own separate count. And this is actually extremely helpful because Redis is going to do what? These multiple backend servers actually can share the same Redis counter. So this will be the request count that we are going to increment. So now what I'm going to do, right, so I'm simply going to do it, the request count is equal to 1, and I'm going to explain what we are doing. So I'm just going to have it, and I'll do Redis client.expire. So I'm just going to give the rate limiter key, and also I'm just going to give the rate limiter window second. So what we are doing here, so first of all, expire is going to do, is going to create a fixed time window for this particular counter. So we have a counter, right? So now we are actually setting this expiry when the count is 1. Okay, now Now think in this way, right? So let's say if we reset this expiry on every request, so every time they are going to hit that request and we are going to reset this expiry, what will happen? This time window that we have, it's going to keeps moving. We can't do that, okay? Because we are implementing a fixed window limiter, and this is also very simple level, right? This is not even complex. For this kind of simple fixed window limiter, what should happen, right? Expiry should start with a fast request. So that is the reason when the request count is 1, we are actually setting this expiry. I hope this is clear. What will happen, because this is actually 60, so after 60 seconds Redis is going to delete this particular key and it's going to count again from fresh. Okay, so after 60 seconds it's going to delete and it's going to start counting from fresh. Very important. So I'm just going to write it here that after 60 seconds Redis will delete this key and start counting from fresh. So I think this is done, and then I'm just going to set some header. So I'm just going to do res.set header, and let's give this one as x rate limit hyphen limit, and this will be your rate limiting max request. Also we are going to set one more, so I'll do set header, and this will be x rate limit, and let's do remaining, because we also need to check that how many is remaining. So I'm just going to do remaining, and how we are going to get the remaining, so this will be very simple. So we'll do math.max. So I'm going to take the 0, and you have the rate limit max request, correct, versus your request count. Simple, because this request count we are using here, right? So we're increasing this one, so every time they're going to do a request, it's going to increase the counter. So that means this is going to check that how many requests is remaining within that time frame. If this request count that you have is greater than the rate limit max request, what will happen? That means you've already exceeded the limit. So in that case we have to return. So I'm just going to do res.status, and what will be the return? 429, because you are doing too many requests. And you'll see that in so many websites also you're going to get this kind of thing. So I'm going to do success will be false, and message will be, I'm just going to do this one as too many requests, please try again later, something like this, right? This is done. And then if this is not the case, we are anyways going to call the next. So this is how you can create. I think we have discussed each and every line. So how we are going to do that? So go to your products, routes, not products. Go to product router, and here you are simply going to do router.use, and for now I'm just going to do product rate limiter, and this is done. So now let's save this, and if you go here, right, maybe let's say I'm just going to hit this endpoint here. So one time, and let's do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're getting too many requests, please try again later. So you are going to is going to get it, right? So until unless is going to reset again. All right, so I hope this is clear. This is a very important concept, but again, one thing I wanted to mention, for now we are actually applying this for all the routes. That should not be the case. Maybe the application that you are building, let's say in your case only one particular endpoint you have to apply product rate limiter, so you can also apply in that particular endpoint level also, but for now we are applying on the overall. But again, the concept you have to understand. So with this, I think that's all for this particular section. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, so now we are going to end this particular video with our last concept, which will be pub sub. So what is pub sub, right? So in short we call that one as pub sub, but that actually means publish and subscribe. So first let's do one thing, right? What are you going to do? Let's go here, and I'm just going to do this one as Redis pub sub .ts. So as I already mentioned that these will be publish and subscribe. So what publisher is going to do? Publisher is going to send a particular message. So here we are going to do publisher sends a message. What subscriber is going to do? Subscriber is going to listens and receives the message. And there is another concept, or you can consider this one as a mediator, and that we call as channel. What's channel? Channel is actually the topic name, okay, from both sides. Both sides use. Both side means publisher and the subscriber. So this is a very overview, okay. Now it's kind of like a live messaging. Okay, it's not like any long-term storage or anything like that. So let's say in this particular project we are going to create a very simple pub sub where we are going to, let's say, I'm just going to give you a very simple example, like we are going to create a notification. So once admin or API is going to create the notification, Express is going to publish the event to the Redis channel, and then subscriber is going to receive it instantly. Okay, and then maybe we can do something like this. We are going to log that notification in another terminal. This is like very basic backend to backend live event we are going to implement. Okay, now here when you are giving some interview, right, there is a possibility that you are going to get query from this particular concept, because this is actually very important. Okay, now what kind of questions that you might get? Okay, that, okay, you mentioned that, okay, pub mean publish, right? So what publisher actually means, and what publisher is going to send a message where? So you have to mention that publisher is going to send a message to a Redis channel. Okay, it is going to send a message to a Redis channel. Subscriber is going to listen and receive the message from that particular channel. So that is the reason I mentioned channel is like a topic name that both side is going to use. Or what I when I learned, I remember I usually used to remember this one like this. The channel is like a mediator. So you have one person within two person, and that one person is actually taking the message from one person and it's going to sending the message to another person, the second person who is actually receiving the message. So now let's do this one with a very simple example first. So first let's do one thing. I'm just going to copy this one from here, right? So let's go till this part we need this one, and then I'll paste it here. So first of all, what I will do, we are going to have a channel as I already mentioned. So there will be a channel, and I'm just going to do this one as demo notifications. Okay, so here I'll do async function run. So first when you're going to implement a pub sub, right, it actually needs two clients. So needs two clients. One client will be to publish and second one to subscribe. This is also important concept and prerequisite, like that you need to know all of this. So there will be a publisher. So publisher will be create client. This create client you're going to get from Redis, and here you're going to pass the URL, which will be your Redis URL. Then you're going to have a subscriber, right? So this will be your subscriber, and this also will be your create client, and this will be your URL, which will be your Redis URL. Okay, so now I have two clients. Now publisher can send a message or publish a message via a channel, and subscriber is going to receive that particular message from that particular channel. So now here I'm just going to have it. So I'll do publisher dot connect. So first we need to connect. Same we need to do for subscriber. So I'll do subscriber dot connect. Okay, so now let's do a log here. So I'm just going to do a log, and I'll do publisher connected and subscriber connected. Okay, also you can check the ping also, right? So let's say you want to check the ping. So I'm just going to do ping. So, and here I'm simply going to do await publisher dot ping. Okay, and then maybe what else? Maybe let's do one more here, and I'm just going to do subscriber listens. Okay, so this is the first step that we need to do. Now one very important concept, when subscriber is going to listen, that subscriber must be active before publish. Okay, why this is very important? Because if nobody is listening, right, so let's say there is no one to listen, when publisher is going to publish that message, it might be missed. So it's actually very important concept that whatever subscriber that you're using, that subscriber is actually responsible for consuming that message via that channel from your publisher. So that subscriber must be active. And now what we are going to do, right, so we'll take subscriber, and this is going to give you this subscribe method, and it's going to receive the channel. So you can see that you have to pass the channel, and it's going to receive the message, correct? So now what you're going to do simply, so I'm just going to do const data, and I'm simply going to do json.parts. I'm going to get the message, and then I'll just do some log here. So I'll do subscriber received, and also let's do some more logging here, and I'm just going to log. So let's do here title. So I'm just going to log a title, and I'm just going to do data.title, and here also let's do one more, which will be data.message. So this will be data.message. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so I'm just going to do another log here, and let's do this one as subscribed to channel, and then we're going to pass the channel here. Okay, so now this is how subscriber is going to receive. Now this is not yet done. Why? Because publisher haven't sent the event yet, right? So publisher needs to send the event. So now this is where we are going to just start. So I'm just going to do publisher is now sending the event. Okay, and then I'm simply going to take the event data here. So this will be your actual data. So here I'm just going to take a title, and this will be Redis course, and then I'm just going to have a message, and I'm going to do pub/sub demo. Okay, so this is the event. So now publisher is going to send the message to the channel immediately. Okay, how it's going to do that? So I'm just going to do const, so I'll do receivers, and this will be avid. So we're going to have the publisher. This publisher is going to have now publish. Okay, so this will be a publish method, not subscribe. So this will be publish, then you're going to pass the channel, and then you're going to do json.snigify. What you have to pass? You have to pass this event, and this event, this subscriber is going to receive via this particular channel, which is the message that it's receiving here. Okay, and then we can also do some log here, and then I'm simply going to do published event, and also let's log here. I'm just going to do active subscribers. Okay, and these will be receivers. Now what we are going to do, right, we are going to, so let's do one thing. We are going to have some small wait, so that whenever subscriber is going to receive it, it's going to log, okay, before it's going to exit. So I'm just going to have it. So you can simply do a new promise here, normal concept, take a resolve, and you're simply going to do a resolve, sorry, set timeout, and I'm just going to resolve, and I'm just going to give 300. Okay, so now I think this is done. Also what else, maybe you also need to unsubscribe now. So I'm just going to do subscribe.unsubscribe. We're going to pass the channel, and then we're going to quit is again the same thing. So we'll do subscriber.quit, and you're also going to do publisher.quit, and then let's do one more log here, and this will be pub/sub demo done. So the main thing you have to understand, there are a couple of key points. First one is that pub/sub is nothing but it's like a live messaging. Subscriber must be active before publish, because you see that subscriber is going to subscribe, it's going to get the event data. Before publisher is going to publish, it has to be active, or else once it's going to publish, if the subscriber is not active, it's not going to work, because there is no one is to receive, who is going to receive the data. Okay, so this is one important concept. And another important concept, pub/sub is going to, or pub/sub doesn't store messages permanently. Okay, this is another important concept. So go to package.json, and I'm just going to copy this, run it. So I'll do Redis pub/sub, and this will be, let's copy this. Okay, and here I'm just going to run this. So do npm run, and then enter. See, again I've done mistake. We have to run this, right? So let's go here. We have to just run this. We'll copy this. I'll do pub/sub. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. So I'll do clear. Alright, so fantastic. So you can see that we have publisher connected. Let's go one by one. Subscriber connected, ping pong, you are getting subscriber listens. Now here you will notice one thing, subscriber listen. Now you say subscribe to channel, which is this one. So before, even though this is active, it's not going to receive the data. Why? Publisher needs to publish, correct? So that's why you're getting subscribe to channel. Publisher is now sending event. Now you can see that you're going to get subscriber received. So title Redis course, blah blah, message, whatever you're sending, publish the event, active subscriber is 1, and PubSub demo is done. The main point is, again I'm repeating again and again, when you're going to implement this one in a real project, your subscriber has to be active before publisher is going to publish. If this is not the case, you're not going to work. Okay, so this is one important concept. So with this, I think this part is also completed. So let's do one thing, right? In the next section, I'm going to show you one very simple example on this project context, that how we are going to implement this one practically. So let's do this one in the next part. Alright everyone, so now let's end this particular video with the one practical example that I'm going to implement here. So first of all, I think we have already discussed the concept, right? Subscriber. I'm not going to repeat the same thing again and again. So first thing, let's create one folder here, and I'm just going to give this one as subscribers. Okay, so this will be the first thing, and let's create this one as, so I'll do notification dot subscriber dot ts. So this is the first thing, and then also let's rename, copy this, go to controllers, and I'm just going to do notification dot controller dot ts. Also we'll go to routes, I'll do notification dot routes dot ts. So first let's start with a subscriber, right? So first of all, what we need, so let's go here. I need to copy some of the things. So we need the create client. Also, okay, let's copy these two first. I'm going to paste it here. Also, you need to have a notification channel. Okay, so for this one, what we are going to do, right? So let's create here only. Maybe we don't need another file. So I'm just going to do const, and I'll do notification channel, and this will be notifications. So let's see what actually we are doing here. And I'm just going to take export, not export, I think let's take it in case in other files we need it. So I'll do notifications payload. So for now I'm going to keep very simple. So I'll do id, so this will be a string, and also let's take a title, this also will be a string. Let's take a message, this will be string, and let's take a created at, and this also will be a string. Okay, now what we are going to do, right, first of all let's create one more method here. So I'm just going to do async function, and I'm just going to do publish notification. So here I'm just going to get the notification, the type will be notification payload, and this will be the promise void. What we are going to do simply, so publisher is going to do what? Publisher is going to send the live message to Redis. Okay, so here we are going to do await. So I'm just going to take the Redis client dot, so it's going to do a publish, so it's going to publish to your notification channel, and here I'm just going to pass the json.stringify. What notification is going to pass? This notification. If you want, you can also do notification, right? That's it. So this will be to publish it, right? So now let's save this. So now we need to work on the subscriber. So here we already have create Redis, we haven't created Redis, we are going to use now. So first of all, let's do one thing. So here we are going to create our subscriber client. So I'm just going to do subscriber client. So this will be here, we need the create client, and I'm just going to do URL, and this will be your Redis URL. So Redis URL, we need to just copy this from here. Here we can do, and this will be your Redis URL. Okay, so first I'm just going to do subscriber client dot on. Let's give one error in case any error, and here I'm simply going to log one error. Okay, I'll do subs Redis error, and this will be error. So this is the first thing. Now what we're going to do, right, so we are going to start our notification, subscriber notification. So I'll do async function and I'll do start notification subscriber. So first what we need to do, just see this whatever we have done here. So what we have done the connect. So here first we need to connect. So I'll do await subscriber client dot connect. So the first thing. Now what I need to do, right, this subscriber needs to tell Redis, okay, I want to listen to this particular channel. Which channel? The notification channel that we have created. This is the channel. So here I'm simply going to do, okay, now it's your task is that you have to subscribe to this particular notification channel, right? And also you're going to receive a message, and here I'm just going to do a try. And in the try, so in the catch, what you can do, right, in the catch you can maybe just do something like this, log, and then we can just do new notification. In short, I'm doing received, right? So this will be new, and here we can just get them, render the message here. In the try, first of all, I'm just going to do const notification, and this will be JSON dot parse. So here we are going to get the message, and this will be as, and we are going to pass this, right? So you can pass all of this, or you can pass the as notification payload. We can directly pass it here. Okay, so this is done, and then I'm going to do a couple of logs so that we can understand. So first I'm going to do new notification received, then I'll log it here. So I'm simply going to do title. So this will be your this notification dot title. Copy this, I'll do message and created at, right? So I'll do message, and this will be created at. That's it. Okay, so this is done. So now what else? I think this should be fine. Now you have to call this. So now we are going to do start notification subscriber dot catch. Here I'm going to get error, and I'll simply just do console dot error, and here I'm just going to do fail to start notification, and I'll do error, and then we'll do process dot exit of 1. So this is what we need to do. Okay, so now not yet completed. Why? We need to publish the notification. We haven't the publish. This is what we have learned so far, right? Subscriber is going to subscribe, and subscribe is must be active, but publisher is going to publish. So where we are going to do that? For this one we need to implement our this controller. So let's go here, and then I'm just going to copy this, paste it here, and then I'm going to do export async function, and this will be my publish notification controller. Okay, so here we are going to get the request, which will be request, response, this will be response, and we also need the next, which will be your next function. So now here what we have to do first, so we'll do try, and this is the place where you have to publish it. So I'm just going to take the error, and then we're going to pass a next with error. So in the try, what are the things you have to do? First, you're going to get the title and body, title and message. Let's say you have a UI, and from the UI you're going to receive it, correct? So you're going to get what? Title and message, these two things from request dot body. This title dot request, see, title dot message we are having in the payload. And then if you do some check here that if title is not missing, I'm not doing all of this now. So here I'm simply going to do now create the notification, and this notification will be ID. So this will be your date dot now dot toString. Then you're going to pass the title, you're going to pass the message, and also created at. We have to also pass the created at, this one, and this will be new date dot to ISO string. So this will be your notification, and this is the place now we are going to publish. So this is where publisher is going to publish, So to have it, so we'll do publisher notification, sorry, publish notification. I think we have to do publish notification. We have to export it. So we'll do export publish notification. So this publish notification is going to get the notification. This is the notification. You are getting the flow. So this one you are going to, let's say you have a UI, you are going to get from UI, you are publishing the notification. This is going to do what? It's going to publish. See, we are using Redis client to publish this one here, right? This part, this one, and then subscriber is going to subscribe. So now I think this is done, and then at the end what you can do, you can simply just do arrays.status of 201.json, and you're going to do success will be true, message I'm going to do notification published successfully, and you can also pass the data. So let's say id will be notification.id, and this is done. Okay, so this is what I need. So now what we can do, right? So let's go to routes. So let's copy this, part, go to notification routes, and this we don't need, and this will be my notification controller, and I'm just going to do this one as notification controller. Now I'm simply going to do router.post, and this will be notification controller.publish notification, and you're just going to do export default, and this will be your router, and this is done. But this is not yet completed. Why? In your root you have to use this. So go here and then simply copy this, and this will be your notifications, right? And this will be your notification what we are using here. Okay, let's import this. I think we have to import. So this will be your / notification routes, that's it. So I think this is done. So now how we are going to check it? First let's see if we are getting any error or not. I think this is working, right? It's working. So first let me just copy that. I'm just going to copy this, and I will go to my package.json, and then I'll just add this here. So we'll do source/subscribers, right? This is what you're using, subscribers notification.subscriber.ts. so this is one. And now what I can do, right? So let's run it here. So I'm just going to do npm run subscriber. Okay, so now this is running. So first what we're going to do, right? So let's copy that curl here. So I'm just going to copy this, go to postman, and I'm going to do import. Let's copy, and then I'm just going to run it on my Redis full quotes, and then let's send it here. We're getting 4. Okay, what we are using, let's see. Our API will not be there. So notification published successfully, and you can see what you are getting. New notification received. Fantastic, right? Here, so this title order created message, this has been created successfully. So from where you are getting this one? So if you go here, right, so do new notification received, title, message, and created at. Okay, so that means once you're publishing, subscriber is able to subscribe that one, and it's going to actually getting the data from publisher via this notification channel. So this is how we have to practically implement this logic. Okay, this is very simple way I've implemented, and if you just do this process multiple times, you see that how much easier it will be for you to implement all of this. Okay, so with this I think we have completed this particular video. So let me know what you think. As I already mentioned in the intro, if I'm getting good response, as I already mentioned, I'm not going to do part 2. If I get good response from this particular video, I'm going to create an advanced part. It's very simple. If this video, let's say, getting 5,000 or 10,000 views, there is no point of spending this much effort of creating a part 2, right? So with that, that's all for this particular video. I will see you in my next video. Till then, good luck and peace.